So going back, I had to cut it because I need to edit some of the videos. I don't want the phone to stop because I was almost reaching my limit. Because I have a bunch of videos saved anyway. So I transferred that previous video to my SD card so I can record more here because I usually have more than an hour to record. Alright, so let's go back to the A because usually it's a good shape here. Symmetrically speaking, it's a good position for your neck. The A and the G usually are for your fingers to have more motion freedom, right? So going for the A, using the A as an example. Now I want to set up an A mixolydian, which is A dominant 7, which I'll show you before. You can, by the way, chromatism in jazz. Right? Half step, but don't use them too much. So you can. I'll show you later how to use chromatism to make your spice. Okay? But I'll tell you this: chromatism in classical music, in certain progressions will work, but as long like the Phantom of the Opera has a lot of chromatism, right? Da, 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 da. But those are fast runs, and they change keys to a lot. That's the Phantom of the Opera is one of the most successful classical pieces that include a lot of chromatism. But that's because it does these little fast runs, right? It's not like a passing note that can screw everything up in a classical music, unless you're going from like minor to harmonic minor, which is another scale I'm going to show you after. He has a raised degrees, right? Okay, so how do we form again the chords? Remember, the Locrian has a minor 7 and flat 5th. It's a tetrad. It's kind of like a tetrad in a way because you use 4 different notes to make the chord instead of just 3. So you're gonna have your root, your minor 3rd, your flat 5th, and then your minor 7. But what's the minor 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you know this is your minor 7 already. You found your minor 7, you found your root. Perfect 5th is right here. So, where's your minor 3rd? That's the minor 3rd. That's your minor 3rd, right? So you could do this as well. So here you go. But if you want to throw a little bit more, you know, which is kind of like an inversion to another chord, which I'll show you later. So you can do this, or you can use your thumb if you want. See, Jimi Hendrix and Pat Metheny use their thumb. They will teach you not to do that. They think it's bad at music etiquette, but I use them. I don't care when I need it, because if I'm doing a run, especially if you're doing like chord and adding melodies, and you want more freedom, you don't want your fingers stuck here. I usually will. So the position would be this, okay? So you usually would be on the, you know, like a ladder, right? So in here, now I gotta tell you the positions for the chord because it's different, right? So root on the 5th fret, the flat 5th on the 6th fret on the A, the minor 7 is right here on the D string on the 5th fret as well, and the minor 3rd is on the G on the 4th fret. What note is this? The minor 3rd on the Locrian is? It's a C. Because the minor 3rd in any major scale is going to be that. Any minor mode of the A, the C is always going to be the minor 3rd. Okay? The Locrian, the Aeolian, or the Dorian, which is the same shape, or the other scales like the harmonic minor or the melodic minor, which is the jazz, usually called the jazz scale. I'll use this pattern to start with. But the exception for the Locrian and other modes of the Locrian, which is a flat 2nd. Right? But in order for you to also do that, if you want to add a little bit more brightness to your chord, you can do the root, 7th, right? You can do it. So remember, that's the mode. Where's the root again? So you have Minor third. That's another way to do it. Which note is this? This is your flat fifth, which is an E flat. Remember the tuning? It's an E, E flat, D, E flat. So this is your perfect, your flat fifth. What note is this? Minor third. And then you skip a string. You don't use the A string. Well, you can if you want. You can actually. But if you want to use a fretted, you use the fifth fret on the A, on the E. Well, let it go and pluck the. Because remember, the same note, the same root. That's a little bit more color. This is a little bit more tense. Look, right? Very dark. The other one is adds a little bit more color. So you can like. I'm gonna start from the minor third. So minor third, flat fifth, fourth. Then you go the ninth, root, minor seven. You can even do this. So flat second, root, flat fifth, fourth, then root, seven. See? You can use that in jazz. But you can keep going down too if you want. So a little bit chromatism, but like I said, no, see, you have that chord. You don't need to go. That's a regular arpeggio. See, the regular arpeggio would be root, minor third, flat fifth, seven, the minor seven, root again. You can practice if you want. But not to make it boring. Here we go. Right? You know, have fun. I'm just using chromatism here because I'm. You play with them. Each musical genre is gonna have its own context of your phrasing. You're not gonna do like a little rock. You know, it's. I personally find it distasteful. Other musicians can do that if they want. I find it a little bit distasteful of you using, excuse me, little rocky bluesy licks in jazz. I mean, you can do from once in a while, but that's why like you can use the pentatonic scale. But the pentatonic scale would be like, you know, more bluesy rocky, right? You can still apply that scale to jazz. You can even bend sometimes with jazz that they don't do a lot of bending. You know what I mean? They focus a lot more on the intervals and unorthodox ways we arpeggiate in jazz, right? Like you're trying to get. You can apply the pentatonic, but like in the melodic minor mode or the harmonic scale, or melodic minor scale, which I'll show you later. It's just like the phrasing. The more you listen to jazz, like I recommend to you, if you're gonna listen to jazz, rock, music, metal, you usually hear the patterns. Like now, metal they like to shred a lot. They do a lot in jazz too, but the phrasing is just way more complicated. Trust me, you know. You hear it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter a lot. right? I'm doing a, this is a B minor arpeggio, right? You hear that a lot, which is steady, you know, whatever. But in jazz, or you're usually gonna hear like different. And also classical music, gonna hear that a lot too, of course. Right? I do that more in classical music. That's usually what you're gonna hear in the classical music, right? Also, those patterns I taught you, classical music. Remember that? Usually it's more minor scale, but you can use the major scale. So, you know? That's another pattern too. Classical, right? Usually classical music is this. But like I said, I'd rather teach you on the dry so you can hear the notes. Then later you can, like, because you're doing the acoustic, but one day you buy an electric guitar, buy your pedal sets, whatever, and you try to get in the more distortion kind of sound of leads, because that's what you call it. It's called leads. When you're doing soloing with that kind of stuff and you add the melodies, those are called the leads, right? But yeah, I mean, now something very used to in rock music and blues is usually these little arpeggios here. Like you have the pentatonic and the minor pentatonic. Let's go to the minor pentatonic, which is just 5 notes. You're gonna skip a lot of steps. You're gonna go. Root, minor third, fourth, perfect fifth, 7, root. That's what the pentatonic, minor pentatonic scale is. Root, minor third, or major third if you're in my major pentatonic. 4th, 5th. See, right here you already started the D major. So if I had to do the entire box, that's how you do it. So, 5th fret, which is the root, A minor. And you can play that in the minor chords that I showed you, by the way, too. So, 5th fret, 8th fret, 5th, 7th, 5th, 7th, 5th, 7th, and then the 2 last notes is, remember I told you about those little octaves? You're gonna do 1, 4, 2, 5, 8, 5, 8, 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 8, 7, 5, my bad, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5. So you're gonna get, you see this note here? Remember the minor scale? You're gonna get this note. So which note is this one? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 4th. Okay? 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the little pattern that sometimes they use. It's gonna go. But you're gonna try to like do the legato. Or you're gonna start from the first note, this note here. So, and you gotta practice your muting too. You hear that a lot, right? Another pattern is this. You get the fifth of the another pattern. So 5, 5, 5, 5 on the B, the E string. Then 5 again. Then you do 5 on the B. Then you do a bend. You can use both patterns by the way. So. See? Cool pattern, right? It's funny, you can combine those notes to create a little bluesy song. All those like, you can combine them. See? Then you can add all the notes on the minor scale. Right? Guys, that's a standard pattern and that's a sweeping pattern. So, and you can practice that in any note of the minor or the major. Like if you had the major, that's the major. The major will start here. What do you get? The major pentatonic is going to be a little bit different. Like for example, what is the A here? If I get the E minor pentatonic, the A here. But what pattern would that be if you have the major, let's say Aeolian? That would be the Dorian, right? So it's the Dorian. This is the Phrygian, right? If you have any doubts about any of the stuff that I'm showing you, if you still didn't get the idea, if I'm doing too fast, let me know too. You play this. Use the intervals to make little chords. Get the shape of the A minor, A major. The 7th and the 5th. Set the 6th in the root. You play with them, you create your own sound. And you can have the chord playing. You see, you can have fun with just one chord, bro. Just one chord, you can have so much fun already. Just play around with that. Play around. Whatever I'm teaching you here, You practice that 10 minutes or something. I don't know. Get your fingers used. Like I said, try to like teach them not to go too far. Don't go like this too much. Take your time. I know it's gonna be a little frustrating sometimes, but you gotta be patient. Bring it way down. If you're not matching, if you're not getting it, bring the tempo way down and focus on whatever you're doing. Does my finger look right? Look at it. Take a look. Inspect yourself when you're doing this. So, and try to see which fingers you have that trouble the most, and you isolate them too, just to be like. Leave these fingers out. For example, my middle finger and my ring finger are my double shit. So sometimes I'll be like this. Just warm them up. Get the muscle coordination. So I can get the muscle memory on them. String skipping, by the way, it's another exercise I'm going to teach you how to do. Basically, skip a string. Like, so you do 1, 2, 3, 4. All chromatism. Then you slide 1. Don't mess up. Make sure it's 4 notes. And also create a punishment system for you. If you mess up, you do it again. Or like say, oh, if I mess up a note, I'll do that pattern twice. It's a good punishing system that for yourself, so you focus on it. So let's say you're doing a major scale run. Practice the chromatism and all this and that. Now for the chromatism, for you to take the next step, I'm going to show you. Basically, you just keep one finger there. You just lower the one you need to. That's a good exercise. For you to learn how to it's going to be tough. For you to learn how to memorize and focus on each individual finger to create finger independence. That's what you want to achieve too, finger independence. Some fingers are going to be weaker than the others, but by doing exercises, you're going to strengthen them. You're going to strengthen your muscle memory, your mental memory as well. The mental effort you're going to make to learn, right? Legato. Right? It's my suckiest technique. It's probably legato. So you can hardly hear, but I will keep practicing. But alright, anything, let me know. I'm gonna upload this right now. And alright, next time I'm probably gonna show you some chord progressions. Let's work on chord progressions, creating your own song. And by the way, like I told you, practice all the scales and all the patterns in each half step. Each half step, you practice that, you know? And memorize the note. Or maybe just a pattern for now. Then you go from that step by step. Don't do everything at once if it's too much for you. Certainly was for me. So you know, so they do the major pattern here on the 2nd fret, and then the major pattern here on the 3rd fret and the 4th fret. And then you know which later you're like, oh, that's an E flat, or you know, that's an E flat. This isn't that. Oh, that's an F sharp. You know, each accident. You practice that, but step by step. Okay. So I'm thinking next. I'm going to show you some chord progressions, how you're going to use the scales to create your own chord progressions because of the intervals. Remember I told you about the intervals? You're learning about the modes and the intervals, and the modes are interconnected to the intervals too. Because then you're going to memorize the 7 chords before you go to the root, depending on the scale too, of course. You know, you have the octatonic scale, whatever, the 12-step scale. It's crazy. Music theory gets crazy. You know, the raised 7 scale, which is the minor, major 7. So things are going to change here and there once you start learning more and more. But like I said, let's focus on the major and the minor for now, the diatonic. And then after you get, that's the bread and butter of it. And once you get that idea, you can apply that to the other scales that you might learn in the future. And you create your own chord progressions. Then you can learn how to like go from one scale to the other. How I'm gonna build a song in order for me to apply these techniques, these cool creative techniques that I learned to make my songs more interesting. You don't need to go crazy. It can be a simple chord progression. It can be a simple song as long as it's melodic, creative, has a mood to it, has an atmosphere, a certain beat to it as well. You know, it doesn't need to go crazy. You know, like I created, like I wrote some simple songs too, me and Josh. That it, you know, from my opinion, is cool. It's beautiful. You know, doesn't need to go crazy. Sometimes you add the crazy to the beautiful, mash a song together. The possibilities are endless. But like I said, for now, focus on what you want to learn first. Focus on what you're more interested now. Then you go for the other stuff. You know, I think music is gonna build you a natural curiosity for other things. Eventually, the more you learn, you're like, oh, what about that style? What about this? I never paid attention to that type of music before. Now I'm into it. Right? All right, man. Let me know.